All right, let's go ahead and dive into the cam operations for making the ashtray. So the first thing we're going to want to do is make 2 sets of soft jaws, one to hold our 4-inch round stock, and then the other to hold the ashtray after we finish cutting it out. So that will be 3.95 inches. So we need 2 sets of soft jaws. Now after we make our soft jaws, it's a good idea to mark them or label them. That way we can use the same set of soft jaws, for example, for our next part that requires 4-inch round stock. All right, to begin making our soft jaws, we will want a piece of parametric stock, which I have shown here in yellowish orange. So to create that, I'm going to go to New Design. I'm going to click on my top surface, and then I'm going to create a sketch. Just click here on the front. And then I'm going to go to Modify, Change Parameters, Add User Parameter, and for our parametric stock, we're going to want a diameter, and I want that to be 4 inches. And then we are going to want to add a height parameter, and I want that to be 1.5 inches. Now I'm going to press C for circle to make our circle right in the center, and instead of entering a value, I'm going to enter the diameter. Fusion is nice and it gives us a drop down to select it. The next thing I'm going to do is press E for extrude, and for extrude I'm going to use the height parameter. Press enter. We'll go here to the home view, and now you'll notice that we have our parametric stock. We can go into modify and change parameters and adjust the diameter and the height. So the next thing we want to do is make our stock see-through. That way when we put our model or our part inside, we can see it. So we'll go to bodies, we'll right click, and we will go to appearance. Sorry, for some reason appearance was hidden from me. And so now I will select this yellow paint, and notice it still isn't see-through. So what we want to do is right click on the body again and go to opacity control, and we're going to set our opacity around 80%. There we go. So now we have a nice piece of parametric stock that we can use to adjust our soft jaws for any piece of round stock that we may need in the future. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and save this off as our round stock. And then what we're going to want to do is open up our blank soft jaw model. All right, and we already have a nice joint origin in our soft jaw model. So what I'm going to do is drag in our round stock. I'm going to bring it up. Okay. I'm just going to hit enter. And I am going to joint, J for joint, the center of our stock to our joint origin. All right, so that looks good there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the joint down 1/4 of an inch in Z. That should give us plenty of room to hold our stock. I'll press OK. And you'll notice the jaws are too far apart. So if you watched the previous tutorials, you'll be able to find a link to the vise setup. So what I'm going to do now is go to change parameters, and I'm going to adjust my jaw gap to be 3 inches. Again, I like spacing my jaws such that I can use a 1, 2, 3 block to easily get that spacing perfect for when I do my cam operations on the soft jaws. So typically my jaw gap's either going to be 1, 2, or 3 inches. In this case, we're going to go with 3 inches. I'm going to click OK. Now what we want to do is go ahead and cut out the section of the soft jaws that will be holding our stock. So to do that, I'm going to come up here and press combined. Make sure you have cut selected. I'm going to select my target body, which is the soft jaw, and then my tool body, which is the parametric stock. You'll see the cutout was formed. I'll press OK. We'll do that process again. Combined, select the target body, which is the soft jaw, the tool body, which is the parametric stock. We'll press OK, and there you go. You see that our soft jaws are cut accordingly. So the next thing we want to do is right click and break the link to our parametric stock. And what that will allow us to do is come up here to modify, go to change parameters, and now we have the height and the diameter of our parametric stock right here to modify. So for example, if I change this to say 3 inches, just as an example, and hit OK, you'll notice that our, I guess 3 inches was too small, so we'll go back up to change parameters. Nevertheless, you saw the diameter of our stock change. We'll go to 3.4, hit enter, and what I want to show you here is you can see that the cutout will adjust with the diameter of our stock automatically, so that's nice. That allows us to go ahead and have one model that will fit all of our various round stock. Okay, so what I'm going to do is change that back to the 4-inch that we needed to make the ashtray. So what we'll do next is we'll transition into the 2 set of soft jaws being created on the Tormach. So the first one will hold the 4-inch round stock, and then the second set of soft jaws will hold our 3.95-inch ashtray after the outside of the round stock has been milled away. All right, now we'll go ahead and transition into the cam. So I am in the manufacturing tab, and what we will do now is we'll go ahead and right click setups, go to new setup, and what we want to do is go to stock, and we want our stock to be from a solid. So we'll click from solid, and then we will select our 2 soft jaws. They will be our model and our stock. Now what we want to do is go to setup. We want to select our work origin or our probe point. So I am going to click box point and select the upper left corner of our soft jaw. We'll examine the axes and make sure they are pointed in the correct direction for your machine. They are proper for my Tormach, X, Y, and Z. The next thing we're going to do is select our model. Again, our model is our soft jaws. We'll go ahead and hide our round stock so that we can see the 2 pockets we're going to be machining for our soft jaws. Finally, we are going to enter our fixture. So I'll click fixture, and then we will select the components of the vise only. Okay, so that is it for our setup. All right, what we want to do now is create a 2D adaptive clearing toolpath that will be used to rough out the pockets in our soft jaws. So what I'm going to do is select the tool. So I'm going to go to my Tormach library and select my Gorilla Chimp Breaker. It's 3/8 in diameter and 3 flutes. I'll select OK. We're running at 7,500 RPM, 60 inches per minute, and that gives us a feed per tooth at around 2.6 thousandths. The next thing I'm going to do is go to geometry. So the geometry tab has recently changed in Fusion 360, so we're all getting used to that. I'm going to select pocket, and then I'm going to select the 2 pockets that we plan to machine. Press OK. And now we're going to examine our heights and make sure that they are set properly. So our bottom height is important, and it is set to our selected contour, which will be the bottom of our pocket. So that's where we want it. Our top height is stock top, and our retract height is stock top. So everything in terms of heights looks fine. We'll now go into passes. Here's where things get more interesting. So our optimal load wants to be 30 thousandths. 150 thousandths is way too much for the 770. So we will select 30 thousandths. The next thing I want to do is to leave some stock. I want to leave 10 thousandths instead of 20 thousandths. Alright, so that's adjusted. So that's it for our roughing. We'll click OK, and it should generate the toolpath for the adaptive clearing. Okay. It's always important to simulate after you generate the toolpath, just so you make sure that you don't do anything stupid. So it's moving rather quickly, but we didn't run into any collisions, so I think everything's good to go there. Alright, so now what we want to do is select 2D pocket, so we'll be finishing our soft jaws. We're going to select the tool, so I'm going to go to my Tormach library and choose the Gorilla Silverback. It's 3/8 inch in diameter and 3 flutes. That's what I use for finishing. Running at 7,500 RPM, 30 inches per minute, and that gives us around 1.3 thousandths per tooth. We will go into the geometry. We will select pocket, and again we will select the 2 pockets we want to machine. Press OK. We'll briefly look over our heights, make sure that our bottom height and our top heights are proper so we don't run into any collisions. So our bottom height is a selected contour, which is the bottom of the pocket in our soft jaw, so that's correct. And the top height is stock top, which is also correct. Alright, so then we'll go into passes. Here I will change the maximum step over to 50% the diameter of the tool. So enter that now. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and enter a finishing pass. 1 finishing pass is okay. And I will make the finishing step over 10 thousandths. Alright, and I will leave no stock. I will enable smoothing and feed optimization. I will also change my compensation type to wear, just in case I run into a situation where the stock will not fit inside of my soft jaws. I can change my wear compensation in Path Pilot and just go ahead and walk out those contours so I can build in tolerance for my part to fit. And that's it for our pocketing operation. So we'll go ahead and click OK, and then we'll right click and simulate. Again, we'll slow it down slightly. And there you can see we are finishing our soft jaws. So here we begin the roughing operation. You'll notice I forgot to turn the colon off. So I've been experimenting with cutting dry just for filming purposes. So there I go, I turned the colon off, and now we're just going in with a 3/8 inch Gorilla Tools end mill, trying to rough out those pockets. You also notice I have 1, 2, 3 blocks, and I use those to keep my jaw spacing perfect, and then I'll go ahead and clamp my vise on those and then perform the operations in the Tormach, just so I can keep the jaw spacing perfect. The 1, 2, 3 blocks really come in handy, especially if you don't have an expensive set of gauge blocks laying around. Now we begin finishing the pocket, so we're going in with a 3/8 inch Gorilla Silverback end mill and just cleaning up that extra 10 thou that's on the bottom of the pockets and on the side walls. So that's it for our soft jaws. Please tune in to the next video where we take our soft jaw fixtures and we assemble it with our Ashtray model to prepare for the cam setups for the Ashtray.